What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and in this video today, it's Halloween. I thought I would go through I call it like the coolest horror books that I have. Some of them are in my collection, some of them are for sale, but a pretty big percentage of these are actually PC books, or at least have at one point been a PC book for me. So these are in alphabetical order. That's the only kind of order I decided to do with them, not value or anything like that. So you're going to see some big books at the beginning, some big books at the end. But let's start getting into these. First one here. This is the highest graded Golden Age book that I own. This is Baffling Mysteries number 22 and 9.6. The last time I checked, which wasn't that long ago, this is not just the highest graded copy of this issue, this is the highest graded copy of the entire Baffling Mysteries run. It is tied with one other book from, I think, like the Northford pedigree that's in a different issue. So in the entire run, at least the last time I checked, there were 2 9.6s. This is one of them. Just an incredible book. Super, super happy to own this. This is one of my PC books. But yeah, awesome. Colors are just awesome on it. All right, next one. Also a PC book. If you follow me on Instagram or anything like that, based on the alphabetical order, you should know what is coming up next. This is Black Cat Mystery Comics number 50. This is a file copy, a 9.0 copy of this book. This book is insane. It is just ridiculous. I think I'm almost certain this is the most valuable book that is in my collection. It is just an incredible copy. The colors are incredible. Everything is awesome about this book. I've actually owned this same book twice. I bought it once. Then somebody made me an offer on it that I couldn't turn down. I sold it. Then I ended up buying it back from them. So I got it back in my collection. So this is one of my PC books. Black Cat Mystery Comics number 50, 9.0 file copy. Amazing Lee Elias cover. And one of the things, like, this was a book, I've talked about this one before, and I like talking about this one a little extra just because it's so cool. I actually didn't really like this book until I got it in person. It didn't really click with me. But once I got this copy in person, and that happens sometimes, like there's a book I think I'll like, and then I get it in person and I don't, or a book that I won't think I'll like and I get it in person and I love it. And this one, it's all the detail. Like, it's just insane. Like, for all the different Lee Elias, like, horror books, this one is just incredible with the detail that's on the cover. And this one is just an amazing copy. But yeah, Black Cat Mystery number 50, 9.0 file copy. All right. Next book here. We've got basically the book that is just known for horror in the Golden Age. This is Crime Suspense Stories number 22, the Johnny Craig classic cover. Used in these Senate hearings, basically to say, like, what are you guys doing making these for kids? But yeah, just the heading cover, classic cover, probably the most well-known pre-code horror cover of all time. Also, probably the most homaged. I think that's probably a pretty safe bet. A close second would probably be Chamber of Chills 19. But yeah, Crime Suspense Stories 22 gets homaged quite a bit. It's a 5.0 copy. I bought this one raw, got it graded. I still think it should be like a 5.5, but yeah, what you gonna do? But this was a PC book for quite a while, but I do have it up for sale, but I also don't mind keeping it because it is awesome. But yeah, Crime Suspense Stories number 22, 5.0 classic Johnny Craig beheading cover. All right, now got another PC book here. This one, I think I added this. I think I finally was able to get a copy last year. These are so tough to get. There are 4 incredible Gus Ricca covers. 3 of them I would classify as kind of like horror type covers, and this is one of them, and this is Dynamic Comics number 8. I love the black background covers. Like, that's just something for me. If I'm talking about like a pre-code horror cover, or even just like a regular cover, like, I just love the black backgrounds. I think it makes everything else on the cover just pop. This one's a 3.0. It has a number of different little flaws to it, but it presents really, really well. Like I said, there are a few Gus Ricca covers. You're going to see a couple more of them in this video later on. that I really, really like. There's four that I think are really like my top four that he did which is just incredible because he doesn't have all that many covers, but he has 4 of the best covers that are out there from that era. But just such a cool cover. You know, he's got this guy like melting while he's holding the candle that's also melting. He's got little, skulls in his eyes. I mean, he is an artist that the thing that I really appreciate, one, is that this is very early. This is 1944. This is way before you started getting all like the pre-code horror type stuff. So you get this type of cover content very early in the Golden Age. The other thing is like the level of detail, and that he isn't just like copying and pasting like things on the cover. Like a lot of times you'll see that where it's like the same looking skull over and over, but it's all very unique, very cool faces on that cover. I think of it, basically, I think Bernard Bailey, the stuff that he did for his pre-code horror later on in his career, almost to me feels like it came from Gus Ricca. Like that he took inspiration from him. That's my personal take just based on seeing those different types of covers. But yeah, Dynamic Comics, number 8, awesome, Gus Ricca cover. All right, the next 2, you don't know the cover artists for these, unfortunately, because they are, you get a big mix in quality in the covers in this run because I believe these were all done by, what is it called? The Iger House artists. And so it's basically like it was sent to like, basically a group of artists and they don't really know who did them. But so you get a big range in quality and some are just really, really incredible. And this is one of them. This is Haunted Thrills, number 5. You've got the skull cover, and this is one again where it's like it's not just like copy and pasted skulls on there. Every skull has different unique things about it, and that's just one of the things I really like. But a 3-0, Haunted Thrills, number 5, just cool skull cover from the pre-code era, 1953. And we're gonna stick in the Haunted Thrills run. This is probably this might be my favorite cover from that run. I know some other people, there's other ones other people like more. This is Haunted Thrills number 13. I really like the way this skull is drawn. And you see this specific style of skull a couple times in this run. And so that's how you know you're like, the same artist did those. It's like the skull with these like really sharp teeth. And it's just something unique that you see with a few of the skulls in that run from Farrell. And yeah, I think this one is just a really cool cover. You can get a pretty wide range of reds on this one. This one's got real deep reds on it. It's a 3.5. And again, like I said, like you don't have any designation for who did it, which is unfortunate that we don't know for sure, but still a really cool skull cover from that pre-code horror era. All right, now we've got next, I'm calling this a horror cover. I think it is, but this is my favorite LB Cole cover of all time. This is Mask Comics number 1. Again, you can see that the black background, that's the stuff that really draws my attention. And then you've got that standard LB Cole color palette. I know like Drew with Como Comics, he calls it like the 4-pack of Crayola. But I don't care. I love it. I love this stuff. And this one has just, for me, it used to be Mask Comics number 2. That was my personal favorite. That's the one with like the devil cover. But then I got a chance to go to a friend's place and he had issues 1 and 2 kind of out on a table. And I got to see them next to each other. And for me, this is the one that really stood out. It was Mask Comics number 1. And so this is the one I decided to get. I would probably pick up a copy of Mask 2 if I got the chance, but I don't know if I would keep it long term. This one is the one that just really, I really, really like. But yeah, LB Cole, classic cover. There's a few that people would argue are his best covers, but for me, this is my absolute favorite that he did. I also really like it's like Blue Bolt 105. I might get that number wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Blue Bolt 105, which is more of a sci-fi side of the cover. I have one of those as well as one of my PC books. But yeah, LB Cole, I think you get some pretty big range in quality in his work over the years, depending on how busy he was. Like when he's at Star Publications, which was his publisher, he was creating like a lot more covers, and I think you get a little more range in quality. But this is very early in his career, 1945, and is just a incredible cover in my opinion. But yeah, super cool. It's got evil on there. I think that qualifies as horror, right? All right, next one here. We have got another black cover. We've got the origin and first appearance of the zombie, Menace number 5. This cover I've always thought is really cool. It's a Bill Everett cover, and you see this character a few times after this, but this one is just, I don't know, it's something about The zombie popping out of there, just being like the stark white compared to everything else around it. I really like the coloring of Menace on there. I think it's just something that's different and unique. It's got that kind of like that Mountain Dew type color. You know, I'm a big fan of Mountain Dew, so like I just noticed it's like got that Mountain Dew type color for Menace. But yeah, Menace number 5, origin and first appearance of the zombie, and just a really cool Bill Everett cover. 4.5, awesome book. This one used to be in my PC, is not currently in my PC. All right, next one. This one was also in my PC for a bit. It is not anymore, but I wouldn't mind if it stayed in it. I think this is another cover. This is another one that it's a black background. It's one that I didn't think I would like until I got it in person. And that is Mr. Mystery number 12. And so this is another one that just like, I don't know, when I saw it on screen, you know, when I'd be bidding on it or somebody else had it, it didn't really click with me. Then I got it in person, and like it's just like that Bernard Bailey detail that he puts in the later part of the Golden Age. Like, I don't care for the superhero type Bernard Bailey stuff where I don't know, like where he's doing like the Spectre and that kind of thing. But for me, the horror stuff that he did is just incredible. And Mr. Mystery 12 is one of the top covers that he did. This is a 2.5. It is an incredible presenting copy. Colors are amazing. Presentation is amazing. It has, the note is it's missing a piece out of page 1 that slightly affects story. That's why the grade is as low as it is, why it's a 2.5. But this thing presents like a champ. It is a really incredible presenting copy of this book. But yeah, Bernard Bailey, one of his top covers from the Golden Age, Mr. Mystery number 12. Just crazy cool cover. He always does that. He does these like kind of like close-ups on people's faces. And that's where I feel like he got that kind of like that inspiration from Gus Ricca, is that extra detail on those faces. And speaking of Bernard Bailey, we've got Mr. Mystery number 13. So this is kind of like the drowning cover, but it's also like, you notice like it's almost like a claw hand. I mean, maybe it's just the guy hasn't trimmed his fingernails in a while, but you know, it's a little bit of a monstrous hand that's like drowning this guy in this vat of whatever it is, red stuff. But this one always catches my attention too, just because of the unique colors. I mean, it's just certain colors that you don't see very often in that era, and they really stand out to me. And it's also got kind of that black on there that also sets things apart. But Mr. Mystery number 13 in a 4.0. This was one, I had bought it, and it was like a 5. I think it was a 5. Can't remember if it was a 5 or a 5.5. And when I got it, I noticed that the cover was detached from the interior, and I could tell it had happened over time. And I probably could have returned it, but I had bought it through Comic Link, and they're real like weird on returns. And so I didn't, and I was just like, I don't think I can sell this as is. So I just sent it in to get reholdered to see what would happen, and it dropped down to a 4, which is what I expected. I was glad it got a 4. A 4 is the highest grade that you can get with a detached cover. And so I was just happy it got a 4. But yeah, this is a really incredible presenting copy of this book. It used to be a 5 or a 5.5, but because it got detached, it no longer is. And that is one of the risks I talk about with CGC cases, and why it drives me nuts when I see people like shaking cases around and that kind of thing. Like, people think that just because it's in this case that it's safe, but you can still mishandle them and cause damage to the books on the inside. And that's what happened with that one. All right. Now moving back to Gus Ricca. Now we have got Punch Comics number 9. This was the final book that I needed for putting together the 4 issues that he did, the 4 covers that he did that I really wanted to collect. And this was the hardest one for me to get. Punch Comics number 9. Gus Ricca, classic cover. It's just like, it's not quite horror, but I mean, to me, it kind of falls in that arena, because you got a guy getting shot and killed by multiple people on the cover. You know, he's basically, it looks like to me like he's like a sketch artist, and he's drawing up this, you know, this ring of criminals, and they're all, you know, broken and are taking care of him on the cover there. But yeah, this is a 3.5 off-white pages, Gus Ricca, awesome cover. And if you've got Punch Comics number 9, you know what's got to be coming up next. We have got Punch Comics number 12, the most well-known cover that Gus Ricca did. The best, in my opinion, skull cover, and I think most people's opinion, skull cover of all time, especially the Golden Age. And, you know, you can see it's got the classic skull cover designation. This is one of those books that I mean, I'm sure I would love to have like a really high grade copy of it, but to me, this is one of those books that being in lower grade with the right type of flaws, it actually just, it makes it look almost even cooler. Now, I wouldn't have wanted to have like big pieces out of like the skull or anything like that. That impacts like the major art on the cover. But with the pieces missing being on like kind of like the outside edges, like over here and over here up in the corner, that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think it just kind of adds to the book. And maybe I'm just saying that because I'm the owner of it, but I don't care. I think it kind of adds to the book, and it's just, just an incredible comic. This one I was super happy to get. In reality, this is probably the harder book to get, but I was able to pick this one up a little earlier. I was able actually to pick this one up a little bit earlier, just got lucky in an auction and was able to grab it. But yeah, 1.5. This one also has piece out of page 18, slightly affects art. But I mean, this one was going to get a lower grade regardless with all the, missing stuff and everything. But yeah, there we go. Punch Comics number 12. This was, just another one of those. So now you've seen 3 of the 4. The other one I wouldn't really qualify as a horror comics. That's why I didn't decide to show it here. All right, next one. This was also a book that I picked up raw, got it graded. This is Secret Diary of Eerie Adventures, and it's non-numbered. You can see it's got the NN up there. It's a 4.0. This book is incredibly difficult to come across. There were a few copies that have come up for sale over the last couple of years, and I think that's kind of like hurt the value a little bit, where you didn't have any sell for a long time, then there was a really big sale, and then you had a few books that got pulled out. But regardless, I mean, this is a tough book. You do not see it come up. It's a thick book too. It's a big square bound. And so if you go to comics.org, they actually don't even have the page count for it. And even though it says 100 pages, you don't really know what that means unless you've actually counted them. And I believe when I counted it, it's 96 interior pages and then the covers. So the 100 pages here means including the covers. And that's what I mean. Like, sometimes you don't know if that 100-page notation means including covers or not. And in this case, it is including the covers. But Secret Diary of Eerie Adventures is just a book you never see, and has a little tape you can see on the spine there, but otherwise a really, really solid presenting copy of this book. I was very happy with this one. All right, next one. Now we have got a Steve Ditko classic horror cover. We've got Thing number 15. And if you haven't seen, so I feel like a lot of people have probably seen this one, but it's just this like creepy worm creature. You see it pop up a couple times. I think they're both done by Ditko. But this is definitely the most well-known of the two, and a tough book to get in nice condition. This is a 6.5, off-white to white pages, really nice copy of this one, but you can see Steve Ditko cover and art. Yeah, again, like that's usually the trend for me. It's like the things I really like have these like darker or black type backgrounds. They just make everything pop, especially with horror type books. And yeah, Thing number 15. All right, next one. This is one of my PC books. Man, I've upgraded this book. I think this is my 3rd or 4th copy. I've upgraded this one a few times, just always trying to get a slightly better copy each time. This is Underworld Crime number 7. And again, this is one that's a little more of a crime cover, but I just think that it's, I don't know, just the fear on her face makes it qualify for the kind of like the horror type cover. But this one, it is a slightly brittle page copy. The highest grade you can get with slightly brittle is a 6.5. I personally think this deserves a 6.5. This is the nicest copy I've seen of this book presentation-wise. And that's where you can have things like page quality that will cap your grade, but you can still have a book that presents incredibly well. One of the issues I see with this book all the time, and when I say all the time, it's not really that often because it doesn't come up for sale that often because it's a relatively scarce book. But this book is rarely square. And what I mean is that like you get kind of this like twist to the cover, and you'll have kind of just like it's very obvious that everything isn't square because you've got this straight line along the top with Underworld and this little, red bar up in the top, that kind of thing. And this one is super, super square. It's just like a perfect wrap for this book. And it's just not something that you come across with this one very often. And so even though it's a 6.0, to me, this one is just hands down one of the best copies presentation-wise that's out there for it. So even if I upgraded to a higher grade, it might not look as nice as this one. That's the whole buy the book, not the grade type thing. But yeah, Underworld Crime, number 7, 6.0, just crazy cool cover. All right. This one was a PC book for a while, is not a PC book now. This is my favorite Johnny Craig cover. This is Vault of Horror number 35. And this one, the reason I really like this one is it's got that perfect mix, and I've said this before, perfect mix of horror and comedy for an EC book, where it's not quite like super violent like you got with Crime Suspense Stories number 22, but it's, some people almost think it's like the precursor to it because you've got the guy with the axe there. But basically he's giving his wife a casket for Christmas. It says Merry Christmas to my wife on the little, card right there. It's just like the perfect bit of humor. And but this one, super bright copy, 6.5 off-white pages, has the bright reds on the top and everything. Just incredible looking book. But yeah, great for all the holiday seasons, for Halloween, for Christmas, everything. But yeah, Vault of Horror 35, awesome book. All right, there's a on the upcoming Heritage EC auction, there's like a 9.4. There's a 9.4 that's coming out. Just an insane copy of that. All right, now the final book. We're into the W's. The final book, we have got Witch's Tales number 25 and a 7.5 light tanned off-white pages. This copy, I believe, was the Black Cat collection copy, but it got reholdered and lost the little sticker that was there. But I think I confirmed that just by checking flaws. Like, that's one of always the fun things with Golden Age books, is it's almost like they all have little fingerprints on them because you can just look at flaws and you can tell between the books. But yeah, 7.5. Decapitation cover. It doesn't say classic cover, but this should totally say classic cover there. And this one, it's one of those that it's right around the Lee Elias covers, and so you would think this was a Lee Elias cover, but it's not. I can always forget the name. It's a Howard Nostrand cover. So you can see up there, Howard Nostrand cover and art. To me, it feels like he kind of like, I don't want to say mimicked, but like he looked at like the Lee Elias art and followed a very similar style, because it has a very, very similar feel to the Lee Elias type covers. I don't want to get it out because it's near the bottom of this pile now, but the Black Cat 50, like you just see like the detail on the face and that kind of thing. It has that very similar look to it. But yeah, Witch's Tales number 25 from Harvey, another one of these just crazy violent books. Like, they just kept ramping it up as they got closer and closer to when the Comics Code Authority was established, and this is near the top of that. But yeah, incredible grade for this book, 1954, Witch's Tales number 25. So those are all the books that I wanted to show. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Maybe you saw some books that you haven't seen before. I don't know, there's some pretty rare, cool stuff, I think, here, and a number of my PC books, a lot of the stuff that I like to collect. But hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, all that kind of stuff, and I will see you on the next one.